Welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's new movie True Spirit. Let me know in the comments below, had you heard of this? Perhaps you were in Australia and you followed this in real life. It's based on a true story, so I did wonder how much they've embellished the story. So once you've seen the movie, let me know how much do you think this is true. If you're a sailor, let me know as well, and if you were laughing or going, yeah, that would never happen. I think they tried to do their best. They have to dramatize it, but before we get into that, let's get into the synopsis and the review. The true story of Australian teenager Jessica Watson, the youngest person ever to sail solo non-stop around the world. So I remember this being on the news and following it on the news, and I can't remember how it ended, so I was glad that I couldn't, because when I went into the film's ending was like, a big adventure, and I was like, what's gonna happen, sort of thing. That was great. It doesn't outstay its welcome, and it's actually far better than I was expecting it to be, because when you look at the thumbnail for this, it looks like one of those cheesy straight to DVD Disney movies. Now it does have elements of that, but because we have some standout actors here, we have Anna Paquin as Julie Watson, the mother, Cliff Curtis as Ben Bryant, who is the trainer who teaches our young lady, Ayla Brownie, as the young Jessica, and Tegan Croft as the older Jessica Watson, who we see most of the time. So we've got some really good actors in here. And so we have cutaways of the family sending their young daughter out on this amazing adventure. She's going to be the first 16-year-old, because there's been a 17-year-old already, so she's 16. And with a race against time, they start her off on her journey, and obviously she's going to go through harrowing things. Now, how they capture that is interesting, because she has a video blog. I believe she did that in real life as well. And my top tip for this movie was don't switch it off at their credits, because you get to see the real person and some of the footage that she was capturing. I thought that was really interesting and a great way to do it. I do like it when movies do that. So when you get some of the cheese dialogue with the family that doesn't come across great, you still have the other veteran actors like Anna Paquin and Cliff Curtis, who is phenomenal in pretty much everything he does. So it was so great to have those guys to kind of elevate the level of acting. The others weren't terrible. There was just a level of TV acting that was in this sort of soap, but it is elevated. And I think the director did a good job with portraying, I guess, the film's message, the story within. So I've been on a yacht a few times, and I've been on a catamaran, and I know, like, I'm not selling them myself. My dad owned a yacht, and he took me a few times, and we had some fun doing that, and I just obeyed orders. But you have to know quite a bit of stuff. Watching this movie, it brought back certain memories, like how hard it is to do basic things, especially if you're caught in a storm or if the weather is a bit rough, doing anything. And I think they showcased that very well in this film, giving you an idea of how hard it is to do basic things, which I liked. It elevated that tone of the film, the tenseness of it, between cutting through the panicked family who's on the radio with her every day, checking in her navigational points, to the worried trainer, to the character Jessica, who has to experience all of this harrowing adventure as well as loneliness, and then why she's even doing this, and then media and other people who are saying she shouldn't do that, she's too young, and the parents are being irresponsible. There's some incredible cinematography shots in this. Small boat in a large ocean, visually eye-pleasing, some beautiful sunset shots. Those kind of things that you want to see are done really well, and it did lead me to think, well, how did they do some of those shots? Would love to chat with the director, because some of it just is so awe-inspiring. You're like, how did the characters that looked really, really real, did they place themselves in that danger? No, they couldn't have. It must have been a big tank in using wind machines, all of that kind of creative magic with CG and green screen, all that kind of stuff. But it did catch me a few times going, oh yeah, that's not actually happening, which is a really good kind of feather in the quiver of the filmmaking expertise displayed here. It also highlights dyslexia, as our character Jessica struggles to read numbers or words, and they get all jumbled up on pages. My dyslexia shows itself in many ways, trying to pronounce people's names, having to re-say sentences in a review a number of times, cutting out a number of things. You would be amazed at what the original review of even this one looks like, because I stumble over words. My brain gets caught up in that when I'm reading words. So I really understood that, and I like the way they kind of took dyslexia, used it as a thing to highlight, but also kind of put it, showing what you can do with it, and then being a champion. So that's part of the adventure and the struggle that you had. And I know a lot of people go, dyslexia is not even a real difficult hardship. Try living with it, or really having bad dyslexia. When it comes to the verbal and written side of it, it is tough. And I was able to resonate with the characters somewhat, with the sailing, understanding how they're showcasing what that looks like, how hard it is, especially for a youngster, loneliness, and then getting back to the message of the film, which I think is kind of a two-pronged thing, but kind of leads into each other, is strength in being yourself, and living your dream is tough. So you can have the authenticity to try and be yourself, which is a great message, but not always easy to do. And then you can also go for doing your dream. But once you're in that and you started doing it, you realize it takes so much hard work and effort to do your dream. And not everybody gets to do that, but sometimes in the storm, in the middle of that, you thinking, why did I do that? And the message is there in that. And I think it speaks to a lot of what people are going through. It certainly did me. So it got me on a number of levels. I understand it's not the best entertaining film ever, but if you like films that are somewhat Disney, similar to Free Willy or A Dolphin's Tale, I don't know why I've gone to the animal, maybe because of the ocean somewhat, but there have been other, I guess, films that have done ocean more intensely, like those escape ones or rescue ones. But I like this one, incorporating the family, the journey, the joy, the hardship, the adventure, and the meaning behind it. Some other reviewers and critics will give it a much lower score and, you know, probably dissect it and talk about some of the others' acting. I don't want to do that. I enjoyed it, and it, you know, it encouraged me. So I think that's a good thing for a film to do. 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
And you got one. Congratulations.
Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.